Hello, world. You are tuning into the Wild BAAT podcast. This is episode number 1, titled Hello, World. For those of you who don't know me, I am William Archibald. I am a CPA in Canada, a CA in New Zealand, where I'm from. I have over 6.5 years' experience working for an accounting firm, and I currently work for Shajani LLP. The purpose of this podcast, the Wild BAAT podcast, is to discuss the acronym BAAT, which stands for Business, Advisory, Accounting, and Tax. I will be educating, discussing, informing, and even at times arguing the board topics. The reason I want to do this podcast is I've wanted to do a podcast for quite a while. I am a big fan of the Peter Schiff podcast, Financial Survival Network by Carrie Lutz, Joe Rogan Experience, to name a few. So please tune in, relax, feel free to comment, ask questions if you want. The rest of this video, I'm going to be discussing the methods of how I'm going to present my data and information. So tune in, subscribe if you want. We'll see you soon. Hello there. I wanted to describe how I would use a scanner to illustrate data. Unfortunately, the scanner I purchased has failed on me, so it's going to be a device that I will use at a future date. But what I was doing, this is my intro video that I'd created before my scanner had broken. I was comparing a adjustment I'd made to medical expenditure or to a non-refundable tax credit that has a 15% claim, which should have resulted in a 15% increase in tax, but it resulted in a 25% increase, so I really had to print stuff out and determine why that was the case. Hopefully you'll see a scanner in the future, and because it is a really useful tool to display information. And here I was simply just explaining the relationship of supply and demand with price and quantity. Increase in price means a decrease in the demand for the product in units sold. So stay tuned, you will see this device in the future. Hello, welcome back. I am using the Windows game bar to display a PDF of the in-depth tax program. I have enrolled in the in-depth tax program. I will be starting this course in October 2021. If you're doing the in-depth tax program, feel free to tune in. Feel free to engage with me as we go through our learning experience of the program. I'm just going to cover the brochure right now, just really to display the Windows game bar and this method of displaying information like this. Alright, so yeah, this is the itinerary for the next few years for me. I'm going to have a little less time of leisure. I'm going to be doing podcasts that is going to cover all the topics and create a lot of content regarding the in-depth tax program. I'm going to have to recreate a lot of information because of copyright issues. But yeah, it's going to help us study and help us learn the information. And it's a very expensive course. Fortunately, I have the opportunity to do it. This year, we will be covering some basic information, some basic topics, residency, individual taxation. This is nothing too complicated for an accountant. Stuff about ethics. It's all going to be virtual, which, COVID. Tutorials are going to be a little bit more complicated, but nothing too out of control. Trusts are always kind of complicated. Partnerships can be complicated as well, depending on how they're structured. Year 2. Wow, some of the stuff a little bit more complicated. I want to learn about international tax. That'll be very interesting. I've done a few amalgamations. I've done Section 85 rollovers before, as well as corporate reorganizations. So some of this isn't going to be completely new to me. Some of this is surplus stripping. It's going to be interesting. Going to be a learning curve. In the final year, sounds like it's going to be the most of the learning curve. A lot of the stuff I haven't done a lot of work in. Yeah, but it's going to keep us busy. It's going to keep me busy, and it's going to create a lot of content. Okay, well, thank you for tuning in to podcast number 1. The podcast is called Hello World. And before this course starts, I'm going to be doing I'm going to be covering a course that I did last year to get me started with the in-depth tax code program, which is about income taxes and CCPC, which stands for Canadian Controlled Private Corporations. So feel free to tune into that, and I look forward to seeing you from the next podcast.